In the small town of Maplewood, USA, there lived a young boy named Ethan Miller. His father, John Miller, owned a small auto repair shop at the edge of town. Life wasn't easy for the Millers. They weren't poor enough to be desperate, but they weren't well off either. Every dollar mattered, and John worked long hours fixing cars to keep the family afloat. Ethan, however, was different from his hard-working father. He loved comfort. While his dad spent 12 hours a day repairing engines, Ethan would spend his afternoons playing video games or hanging out with friends. His father often told him, "Son, nothing worth having comes easy. You've got to work for it." But Ethan would just nod without really listening. One Saturday morning, John asked, "Ethan, I need your help at the shop today. We have more cars than I can handle." Ethan groaned, "Dad, it's the weekend. I'll help later. Right now, I just want to relax." John sighed and went back to work alone. By evening, his back ached and his hands were black with grease. When he returned home, Ethan was still on the couch, glued to his phone. Days turned into weeks. Whenever John asked for help, Ethan found an excuse. He didn't realize that his father's small business was struggling to survive in a competitive market. One afternoon, John's old friend Mr. Parker stopped by. He had known Ethan since he was a baby. After chatting with John, he pulled Ethan aside and said, "Son, your father is carrying a heavy load. If you don't learn to work hard now, life will teach you the hard way. The path to success is tough, but it's never impossible for those who try." Ethan brushed off his words. He didn't understand the urgency, but life was about to give him a wake-up call. That winter, a massive snowstorm hit Maplewood. Business at the repair shop dropped sharply. Bills piled up. John worked himself sick trying to make ends meet. One morning, Ethan found his father coughing heavily, unable to get out of bed. "Dad, are you okay?" Ethan asked, panicked. John smiled weakly. "Son, the shop, it won't run itself. If we can't fix the cars, customers will go somewhere else. We could lose everything." For the first time, Ethan felt the weight of responsibility. He put on his father's heavy work jacket, stepped into the freezing garage, and faced the greasy, cold reality of running the shop. He didn't know much about engines, but he remembered his father's words. "Nothing worth having comes easy." The first day was a disaster. His hands ached from lifting tools, and the cold made every movement painful. He wanted to quit, but when he thought about losing the shop, the place his father had built from scratch, he pushed himself harder. Every evening, John, still resting, would give Ethan instructions from his bed. Check the oil levels, replace the brake pads, treat every customer with respect. Day after day, Ethan got better. He learned how to solve problems, how to manage the cash register, and how to negotiate with suppliers. Slowly, customers began to trust him. 3 months later, when spring arrived, the shop was not only surviving, it was doing better than before. John was finally strong enough to return to work, and he couldn't believe what he saw. Ethan was confidently fixing a customer's truck, his once clean hands now covered in the grease and sweat of hard work. John smiled with pride. "Son, I see you've learned something important." Ethan nodded. "Yeah, Dad, I learned that success isn't easy. It's tough. But if you keep going and never give up, you can make the impossible possible." From that day on, Ethan became his father's right hand. He woke up early, worked hard, and never complained. The town began to notice the change in him. Customers told John, "Your boy's got a good head on his shoulders. You raised him right." Years later, Ethan took over the business and expanded it into a chain of auto repair shops across the state, Whenever young employees complained about hard work, Ethan would tell them his story. I was once like you, lazy, avoiding effort. But life taught me that you can't achieve anything worthwhile without persistence. The path to success is never easy, but if you keep going, you'll be surprised at what you can achieve. This story of Ethan Miller teaches us that no matter how tough life gets, giving up is never the answer. Success demands patience, effort, and determination. The road may be full of challenges, but with the right mindset, the impossible becomes possible. Remember, the path to success is tough, but not impossible. Keep going, work hard, never give up.